Hello and welcome back to the Movie Pope podcast. And today I am going to subject Lee to F1, the movie starring Brad Pitt that is going to be coming out soon. Now, Lee, this we first saw this trailer when we went to go see Mickey 17 a few weeks ago, and
is that when we saw that
yeah,
trailer?
yeah,
Okay.
and it kind of flew by us because we really didn't put much thought into it. But I was interested in doing a reaction to this trailer because me personally, I'm a fan of movies about motor racing. You may not know this, but my favorite movie is Le Mans, starring a certain Steve McQueen.
Wow.
Um,
We're going
yeah,
back for that one. I would say
yeah.
more recent one. Like I really like Ford versus Ferrari. Right. I thought that was pretty good. So
Yeah. That's another good movie, and I'm hoping at some point, we do a review of that movie because it's one of my favorites, and I think also too it's because of the fact that it's based on a true story. Like,
yes, yeah, absolutely.
it's I mean, just the clash between Ford and Ferrari, and if you think about it, if the U.S. and the Soviet Union were in an arms struggle, Ford and Ferrari were in a technological struggle to see who could come up with a better car. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into F1.
Some people look at Sonny Hayes. They see a guy who lives in a van, a gambling junkie who missed his shot, the best that never
Those fireworks
was.
look a little bit too low.
All right, so
Brad.
Yeah, so Brad Pitt's playing a has-been
Possibility.
driver.
Of course. I mean, he has to be right.
My rook is a
It kind of reminds me of how of the role he played in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Has been.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this is always the story, though, right? It's just like some has-been. There's always some rookie hotshot that's
True.
there, and he's going to use his old expertise.
Sunday, Daytona. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Formula One. Oh, I'm sorry. Then same as you.
America.
There's this new guy. He's old. He's such a prick. He's quick, though.
Get any constructive criticism for each other, what would it be?
Don't be such an ass kid.
I mean, these drivers are obviously like,
That was
have to make reactions on like a split second. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about, like, all the stuff. And man, like, talk about how dangerous that shit is. Like,
Well, not to mention they're doing like a bunch of different circuits, and each circuit's is gonna be different
Did you win
too.
something?
mm-hmm.
So you almost have to have like a photographic memory just to know how the circuits roll.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like Monaco's gonna be different from like Daytona, for instance, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
They're saying Sonny Hayes isn't a has-been. He's a never was.
I've heard that 1,000 times.
Yeah, especially now with Brad Pitt, right?
I will take that life, man. 1,000 times.
I'm offering you an open seat in Formula One. The only place you could say, if you win, you are the absolute best in the world.
After that, they do like a lot of that like first person. That is definitely gonna make it look really badass. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because that's how you best capture the drama. I know.
Yes.
When we saw movies like Ford versus Ferrari, or Le Mans, or other movies like that, being having that first person shot of being in the driver's seat and experiencing what the driver's going through, you kind of you can't help but feel like you're in that position because you've been forced into that position just by the way that that it's shot.
Well, Days of Thunder, right? Remember that? Did you ever see that Tom Cruise movie, Days of Thunder?
Yes. I was gonna say, yeah. I had it on the tip of my tongue, but I was like, it was Days of what? Like,
Yes. Yeah, I
But-
was just
but I
trying
know
to
what you
think
mean.
back to think about another one of those types of films. Obviously, that one was more NASCAR, whereas this one's Formula One. So,
but I
I
mean,
mean-
it follows the same themes, really. I mean,
yes.
But,
I'm sure, like I said, there's going to be a lot of, I would say, overlap as far as everything that's going on. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's it by itself, right? Like, I don't think sports films typically like have this like superior track record of stuff, but I think there's ways that you can obviously create a whole lot of suspense, and I think like you see a lot of that, like kind of just from what we saw, where they can make it look really good and look really interesting. And I mean, if you have like you got Brad Pitt there, you have this kind of like struggle going on. I mean, it absolutely could be good, right? I was a huge fan. I went into Ford versus Ferrari and not thinking much about it. And I remember leaving that being like, wow, that was actually really good. I was very happy I saw that. So, I mean, I think that, you can't really judge the subject matter of something. It might not be something that maybe you're quite interested in initially. But, I don't think the subject matter is really the most critical part of it. It's what they could do with the subject matter that makes the difference. And I mean, I think I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Now, will I go out my way to watch it? Probably not. Unless reviews come back really positive for it. But I mean, I think we've seen enough like racing type of stories within recent memory where it's like, we've had quite a few hits with that. And I saw the director that did Top Gun Maverick was a part of it, and I thought that was a fantastic movie. So once again, I'll give them some benefit of the doubt there with what they're able to do.
Well, I was gonna say, like, because with racing movies like that, I mean, it's kind of more personal if you think about it, because just because it's very much a high octane sport. It's not like it's not like with any other sport where you kind of have to train your body, right? I mean, obviously, you don't want to be a fat slob when you get into the driver's seat, but you also kind of have to be mentally acute. And I mentioned this earlier, where you kind of have to train your mind to know how, when you need to, change gears, when you need to, make the turn, when you need to go to the chicanery and all that, and all that stuff. And you almost have to have like a photographic memory of how the course is laid out, right? Because because if you're driving through a circuit like that, you kind of have to know when's the right time to make that turn. Because if you're going at it like like as a novice, if you're green, then obviously you're not going to get that far. And I think it's and especially for people like us. I mean, obviously we're never going to be football players or basketball players or baseball players, but in a weird sort of way we can sort of identify.
Never, right?
Well, we can sort of identify with with these drivers, because we have to get behind the wheel every day, and we have to drive these drive our cars to wherever, and you can't help but feel sometimes you sort of fantasize about being on a circuit like Daytona or the Monaco Grand Prix or whatever circuit you want to name, and just feel like that could be me behind the wheel. But yeah,
pop pulls you over. But yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, I guess it would depend on where you are. If you're on the country, I think you're pretty safe.
Yeah,
but go ahead and let us know down in the comments below. Are you excited to see F1? Do you think this is going to be a sleeper hit of the summer, or are you just not really that into it? I mean, it's all right. I mean, you're not going to hurt our feelings. But other than that, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the flip side.